Hi, welcome to the Center for Technology and Business in Bismarck, North Dakota. This is a real organization. I work for this organization currently. It is an umbrella organization or a host organization for federally granted programs, federally or state granted programs. It acts as an umbrella for these organizations to come in and have some admin and operational help and run their programs by director. We are in a little bit of trouble right now. We have seen a decline. We've lost some programs. We've gained some programs. We have a different funding source now through the SBA and the Women's Business Center. And so it is time to maybe change some of what is already going on. We run the risk of losing this organization. So many years ago, 7 years ago, the Women's Business Center and the Idea Center came together. They merged and created this Center for Technology and Business. The idea was a good one, but over the course of the 7 years, we've lost a few programs and also lost some funding. The trouble that we have now is we have a fairly flat structure. We have very little accountability, very few written policies, and communication and reporting is hit or miss at best. We have dates and times that we must meet to get our grant dollars. Those are important. And so we need to change some of what we're doing. The strategy would be to implement a new organizational chart to generate some very specific job descriptions so that everybody can stay in their own lane, understand what it is that they need to be doing, and work efficiently. And we also do not have a performance and feedback process at the current moment, and that will be something that we will create and implement in this process. Currently, we like to believe that we are creating an entrepreneurial environment. We're inspiring innovation. We're developing business leaders. That sounds pretty great, doesn't it? It doesn't quite work that way. You can see that our impact is really very good. We've served over 200 entrepreneurs just in 2016, and I don't have all of the 2017 numbers. But in 2016, we served over 200 entrepreneurs. And the way we do that is a free confidential business advising. They come to us with an idea, and we help them process that idea, send them to the right people, connect them with communities, mentors, and ideas across the board. We can do that at any stage of business. We trained over 4,000 women in 30 different topics, everything from community to personal, from QuickBooks to succession planning. Any part of the entrepreneurial process or leadership process we train on. And in 2016, we had 250 women that joined us for Summit across the state, located in Bismarck. In 2017, we had 185. And Summit will be held in 2 weeks, and we have only 67 tickets sold. So we see a decline there as well. Currently, our external mission statement as printed on business cards, but nowhere else, is building North Dakota's economic future by fostering an entrepreneurial environment through innovation, technology, training, leadership, and business development. I will say that this external mission statement is the one of the Idea Center, and the Women's Business Center was never brought in and part of it. Internally, we say that we need to increase the number of women-led businesses across the state. And we can see that there is a breakdown here. We don't have the same external and internal mission. In fact, they're really not even in alignment with each other. Our current org structure is as follows, and this is just the upper tier. We have 8 people that work at our organization. Currently, we have the CTP Executive Director that has the Women's Program Director and the Idea Center Program Manager, as well as our organizational manager, our financial manager, and our social media manager, all underneath her. And then the Women's Business Center on the east side of the state and the west side of the state each have a manager, and they are underneath the program director. It's confusing because we work as a team. However, we report to different people, and that Women's Business Center Program Director prefers to be the filter. And so there's no direct connection with the executive director. Everything has to go through the program director, and there's a hiccup there. There's a stopping point. So we struggle there significantly. Over the 7 years since the merger, you can see that we went through a growth stage. We had a few years of maturity where we had quite a few programs underneath us. There were good dollars coming in. We built our team to 8 people during those couple of years. And now we're in year 7, and we have seen this huge fallout. We lost the funding for Innovate North Dakota, which sits underneath the Idea Center. While we still hold the license for TEDx, Million Cups fell off. Well, we have the options of pulling some of these back in with some other grant dollars, but we are definitely struggling because we don't have the internal structure that we need to build that and sustain that program. The competition that we have in our state is pretty steep. We have an SBDC, a VBOC, a veterans-based, a PTAC, which is government procurement, Impact Dakota, which deals with manufacturing, USDA, Emerging Prairie. I mean, lots and lots, plus all of the private organizations that do basically the same thing that we do. And so there is quite a bit of competition. We need to step up and change our game. What makes us different is that we have a niche market that we have not talked about yet. And that's going to come into play with my vision and strategy. We earn our dollars through grants, federal grants, and have to match them dollar for dollar through either state funding, Department of Commerce generally, or program income. And we do a significant amount of program income. So the new vision and strategy looks like this. We need to change the way we do things. We are called the Women's Business Center. Yes, we have some other programs, but they're not strong and they are fading off. So I think we need to really push the Women's Business Center. So our new vision statement would be changing women's lives by providing economic empowerment. Doesn't matter how we do it, right? Not lengthy. I loved Aubrey Daniels' version and tried to change that, really scale that down quite a bit. So we would move into these niche programs, 100% women-focused training, connection, producing female leaders, really focus on women. Not to be exclusive, but really focus on that piece and let the SBDC carry the load on some of the other pieces. A new org chart, which I'll get into in a minute, with their job descriptions, some written policies, procedures, and a feedback plan. Something that we're missing, creates a lot of anxiety in our organization. And the 3 core values, and I really like to keep it at 3. I don't like more than that because 3 is memorable: accountability, respect, and quality. Pretty simple. I'd like to build a culture of accountability, and there are a number of things that you can do to do that. I believe that personal empowerment is incredibly important, and so those 6 pieces that I would like to bring into our culture are trust, meaningful work, it's nonprofit, it's helping people, that's meaningful, honesty, always honesty, having transparent goals so that everybody in the organization knows what the expectation is. Supportive management and autonomy. Autonomy is incredibly important. We do a lot of work. We move very quickly. We need to be able to make decisions at our levels. I think that decisions, while they're important to have that chain of command, when we are running programs, oftentimes we need to be able to have that availability, and we have people who are qualified to make decisions. The biggest pieces, and you see them in the middle, would be giving us the empowerment to make those decisions and know that we're not going to get the nasty negative kickback from making a decision. Consistent training and being fair and inclusive. Oftentimes in our organization, what is good for one is not good for another. And we need to change that. It makes it very hard to be accountable to anybody if one person can go get a pedicure in the middle of the day and their assistant cannot. right? So we need to be fair and inclusive. Our structure becomes a little bit different. We have an executive director, and then we have 3 directors underneath her. The CTV operations director will carry more responsibility. They'll have a marketing manager, a financial manager underneath them, and the women's program directors will have assistants underneath them as well, helping to build these programs and carry the load. Where right now, the women's business centers are really focused on carrying the load 100% by themselves, and oftentimes that operations director out as the CTB gets pulled in, and now she's in a wrong lane, right? She's not written into that grant, and we really need to clean up that structure significantly. Decision making needs to be at this director level. Of course, the buck stops with the executive director, but these 3 employees need to know that they can make decisions that are best for their programs, and know that they have positive feedback coming, and not always getting that negative tone. Team meetings are something that I believe in with the entire team once a week on a Tuesday morning. I dislike Monday morning meetings. On a one-on-one open feedback forum once a week, ensuring that even if it's written, ensuring that we're staying on task, the time management is accurate, that we are accountable for our decision. And it allows this program manager to feel like they can ask to make some decisions and feel empowered then to step up and lead in a different role. I also believe in executive directors sitting in on a quarterly meeting with the program director and the manager, knowing that there can be some very open dialogue during those meetings. Now we have 4 different director, manager job descriptions here and some behaviors. And I think the biggest thing is that we become more transparent, that there are conversations between these groups in a way that everybody understands, that everybody gets good, positive feedback, and know that everybody is part of the team across the board. So you can see some clear written expectations, leading by example, completing tasks on time. And that time piece is so important because we're working with granted dollars. If we miss a deadline, we could lose the grant for the entire year, and that we would lose the center. If our SBA grant is $150,000 for the year and we miss our date, we're out $150,000, plus we're out the state matching funds for that. That's a whole lot of money that we wouldn't be able to sustain without it. The Idea Center, TEDx is housed underneath there. We do some other entrepreneurial, some SBIR granting pieces that's very high technology pieces. And so those are innovative. You need to be able to adapt and think quickly on your feet, and be inclusive, because some of the ideas that walk in the door just are not good ones, but we need to sustain and make everybody feel included. Of course, the financial manager needs to be accurate and dependable. The operations manager, incredibly important because they really run the show. I think that's probably the most important role in our organization, to be honest. They need to be able to complete tasks on time and, of course, be adaptable to change. Now, how do we manage the change? That's the biggest piece. Yes, we can put all this in place, but if we don't actually do anything with it, that doesn't help. So we're going to create the plan. So let's start with that organizational chart. Create the plan, put the new org chart in place, execute it. Everybody has a new role. They have their job descriptions. They know what lanes they need to be in. Let them roll. Let them feel it. Let them give them some space and time, and then give them some feedback. An open-ended survey when they're ready to complete it, even if they want to complete it at the end of week 1, at the end of month 1, and at the end of month 3, and see how they're fitting in this new job description and this new org chart. And then listen. It isn't just about taking in the information, it's listening to it, refine it, and back around the circle you go. I think this would make a big change. I think the niche market would really help. A new org chart would help. I see really great things for the Center for Technology and Business. We just need to move on it. Thanks for listening.